What's up, friends? Welcome back to the local podcast. It is 2021, brand new year, and hopefully a good one for everyone. This is episode 60. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Greensburg Video. If you and your company are in need of social media videos, web videos, broadcast TV commercials, anything that you can think of that has to do with photography or video, you can hit me up at greensburgvideo.com or gbgvideo.net. Also, don't forget that you can advertise on this very podcast. If you're interested in that, reach out. On today's show, we have Denise Ardisson. She's a friend of mine and realtor. She actually sold us our home and sold a few of the other guests on this podcast their homes. She's one of the hardest working ladies that I know, and she's one of the top 10 realtors in our entire area. So please welcome Denise Ardisson.
Welcome to the local
724 podcast in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the local podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Hauser. Today we have Denise Ardisson. She's a realtor with Realty One Group in Greensburg. How are you doing?
Good. How are you, Jordan?
I'm doing great. Little behind the scenes here. Denise actually sold me and Jess our house here in Greensburg. That was a few years ago, back in 2017.
Oh, wow. It's been that long already. That's awesome.
Yeah. Very cool. So how are things going with you?
Things are good. I mean, business has been great. I mean, everyone, I think, realized that last year was kind of crazy. We got shut down, obviously, due to the pandemic for a few months. And like I told everyone, it was like turning a light switch off on one of the hottest markets we'd seen in a while. And then when they came back on, the market really just exploded. And, you know, finding a home right now can be a little challenging. But as realtors, it's kind of given us an opportunity to work really hard and, you know, have pretty successful years last year.
That's great. That's good news to hear because, I mean, I know, you know, we're friends on Facebook and I have other friends that are, you know, real estate agents and different professions all over the place. I was just watching, you know, one by one, everyone kind of like have a rough start to last year. And I was like, oh my God, you know, this is the end of days. And then it was just, you know, slowly but surely everything kind of came back. And I'm glad to hear that you're able to report a good year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, kind of getting off the topic of the real estate part of it, but, you know, I felt like this year at Christmas time when everyone kind of got shut down in the restaurant business, myself and some sphere of influence around me, we actually all pulled together and sponsored 2 families. One of them was a restaurant server and did Christmas for them. So we just felt like, you know, we had a good year and we wanted to give back locally to a couple families. So yeah, it was a good year, but we definitely gave back as well.
That's amazing. That's really cool. You have also worked with a few of the people that I've had on this podcast.
I sure have. I was starting to listen and I said, hey, that was my client, now friend. That was my client. That was my client. I'm like, how do I get on this podcast?
Right? Yeah, it's awesome. So you actually sold Brian Uran from the live casino. You sold him his house and some other folks from the live casino there. And then, you know, Trisha Seal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very cool.
Yes, so. Trisha Seal just hired her as my bookkeeper because I do run 2 businesses, not just, they're all real estate related. And then I work very hand in hand with PPI with George O'Brien. Mm-hmm. Sold him probably over 100 some homes. So we stay busy.
Yeah. So tell me, I guess just tell us a little bit about you. Like, how did you get into real estate? Is this what you want? Is this what you like went to school for? Did you start, you know, your education in regards to like real estate?
Yeah. So I guess, you know, I kind of tell this to everyone I meet when I sit down to meet with them. So they kind of have a little bit of a personal touch to what I do, but I've been doing this for 20 years now. It's hard to believe. I remember when I was deciding where I was going to go to college and saying, you know, what do I want to do? And I just said, I have no idea. Let's go with sales and marketing because the person I babysat for was successful and that's what his degree was in. So nice. I went, yeah. So I always had a passion for houses. And when I reflect back and think why, and it's definitely comes from my grandpa. He would teach me how to paint a house. He would teach me how to renovate. We'd work with wood. So I always had a passion for the real estate. So my degree at IUP was in sales and marketing. And I always say I graduated with high honors. And then I came out and told my mom, oh, by the way, I want to be a real estate agent. And guess what? You don't need a college degree to do that. So I was pretty fortunate. I feel that I actually started my real estate career after a short stint of selling tools for Black & Decker and DeWalt. Wasn't cut out for that. I did well, but didn't like it. So I actually went and worked for Ryan Homes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I pretty much learned footer on up to roof truss. And that will take me into another topic later, but learned the construction, got the opportunity to set a brand new home every day and sell over 100 and some people brand new construction homes in my early 20s, who a lot of those people still come back to me today for when they want to sell those homes, buy, or their friends and family want to move on.
Yeah, that is wild. So like Ryan Homes, are these they're like the prefab homes? Is that right?
Yeah, they're different, not prefab, but yeah, they're different communities throughout the development. Okay. People, Meadow Lane Farm Estates is one of them. I did jobs in Cambridge Point, Heather Ridge, like all of those different communities. But, I was there for 5 years and then I moved on, but it gave me a really, really good foundation that I feel kind of helped set me apart for the rest of my real estate career.
Yeah.
Learning how to do professional marketing, how to work with people, just everything that tied together. I really say my foundation started there and I don't ever regret having those 5 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel the same way. Like, when I left American Eagle, I, at the time, I was kind of like a bear with a thorn in its paw. Like I just kind of didn't, I didn't mesh well with the management and stuff there. But now looking back, everything that I learned there, I have integrated into my own business, and same deal. I mean, like I would never regret the time that I spent there and the things that I learned from those folks. So it's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, it was definitely priceless. I mean, just these last 2 years, Jordan, like I've always worked whole. I'm a very big goal setter. All my goals are always wrote down. Everything I want to accomplish is wrote down and it's in front of me every day. Yeah. But I never really knew where I was at as far as like, how do I compare to other agents? Where do I stand? Like, it was more about like setting the goals and then just committing to my clients and committing to my family. And the last 2 years, I've actually ranked with overall production in Westmoreland County in the top 10 agents. Wow. And if my numbers are accurate for this past year, I'm in the top 3% of all of Pittsburgh.
Holy smokes. That's
So yeah. I'm proud of it. Like I'm humbly proud.
You should be
humbly proud of it.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, like, so I know personally that, I mean, you're doing it, from like an agent's perspective, you're selling obviously, but you're also like you got Jess's old house. So you bought Jess's old house when we bought our house from you. Talk about maybe that side of your business. Like what's going on over there?
Yeah. So obviously I said I have two businesses in the real estate end of things. My primary has always been and probably always will be my real estate, working with clients, buying and selling. But we actually, I had dabbled in renovating and flipping. You could call it flipping, rehabbing homes. Back before I had children, and I have a 9 and 12-year-old and then a 20-year-old stepson. But prior to my two being born, we did a few, and then I had kids. I'm like, okay, I can't juggle all of this. Yeah. So as my other half, we actually formed an LLC called Triple B Properties, and the B stands for our boys' names. But we basically go in and completely renovate local Westmoreland County homes, buying estates as is, situations where someone just needs to sell a home fast. And they typically sell within a day or two.
Oh my gosh. And
then we also have some rental units in and around Greensburg as well.
That's so awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. I mean, like, I just like, I saw what you guys, were kind of doing whenever we were working together. And that was like, it was very cool for us because like we got to work with you and then just kind of worked with you twofold, cause she sold you her house and then we bought this house from you.
Right. And I think the cool thing tying it all together, like if you go back to like Grandpap helping me paint, to Ryan Holmes teaching me from footer to truss, and then you put Triple B and real estate together, my clients, especially both my listings and my buyers, love it when I can come into their home and be like, okay, yes, this room does need painted. Like we got green on the walls. We got to get that down to a gray. And I support the Benjamin Moore store locally, Color Magic. So I support the Baldwins, always recommend them. But everything, like if there's an issue with like, yeah, guys, that we got to get that fixed. I can give them contractor leads. I can see it. Like, it's not just like, okay, yeah, let's put your home on the market. Like there's always a process of what do we need to correct? What makes sense financially? Oh, and by the way, I have this connection. Just like at the beginning of the meeting, you asked me something like, hey, do you know someone for this?
Yeah. Yep.
So I think like the businesses and the background, like all really tie together good. And the same thing for the buyers. It's funny. Sometimes we'll be in a house, we'll be in a basement, and they may be off looking at something and they see me staring at the ceiling up at the truss, not the trusses, the floor joist. And I'm looking for structural items, like trying to find like, is this home a right home? Like, yeah, it's beautiful, but what's wrong with it?
Yeah. And that's an amazing thing to have, especially with a real estate agent, because I mean, inspections are not cheap. And if you have the knowledge to be able to right up front, just be like, we might have a problem here. Like, I mean, you're at least setting somebody up for, so they know, and it's not such a punch in the gut, later whenever somebody else tells you there's a problem or that it's good.
Right. Or even like financing, like there's a lot of first time home buyers in the market right now. And, the millennials and stuff, but you look at a home that has so many FHA or VA deficiencies, it's better that they know that first, because not only are they going to pay for their inspection, that's going to cost them about $500. Then they're going to pay for an appraisal that's going to be $500. And if the seller's not willing to fix any of that, they've just wasted $1,000 that they probably didn't have to waste, or does anyone?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, buying a house is definitely not cheap, but it's nice to have a real estate agent like yourself that knows so much about everything that, through the entire process. Like, I know that you saved us some money with those types of things. Going back to the seller and saying like, hey, we're going to have to do this. So if you can pay for that or knock something off the price or whatever.
Yeah, you guys got an awesome home, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We love this house.
Yeah. And Greensburg is coming back so much. And there's so much amazing things. Like you drive through Greensburg all the time of what's changing and happening. And like the in-town living, like the street you guys are on is phenomenal. So, I mean, I'm happy you guys ended up with that one.
Oh, yeah. We love it. It's just like, I've always like, I think Jess and I just talked about this not too long ago. Like both of us had wanted like a brick house. Like that was like kind of my thing. Like back when I was a kid, like I know one of my neighbors had a big brick house. All the other houses on the block were siding. And, I loved that house. I would walk past it when I was a kid and just be like, whoa, this is an awesome house. And since then I always wanted a brick house. And now we have one and I'm very excited about it. So like, COVID hits, the beginning of this year. What are the things that really kind of upended your flow? Like, were you able to go on like meetings? Were you allowed to have open houses? Did all that get shut down? Like, what was that like?
Everything pretty much got shut down. Like I said, it was like a light switch going out and we weren't allowed to do anything. And, I was sitting on 13 deals pending closing at that time. And I can remember sitting on my couch. I'm going to admit this. I was sitting on my couch and I saw that we weren't allowed to work anymore. And I just broke down and started crying. I'm like, I've worked so hard January, February, and March to lose all of this for my family. Because keep in mind, my household's a straight commission household. And I literally, that lasted about 2 minutes. I got up, said, go get a shower, reset yourself, and said, figure it out, Denise.
Yeah.
So I did. We figured it out. I have an awesome team that I work with on the back ends for closings and mortgages. My girl at Standard Bank, I use a lot, Carolyn Talumac, phenomenal. We closed every deal on time. We closed every deal like simultaneously. We missed not one closing of the 13.
That is awesome. That's great.
Now there are people that needed, because of their situation and their job changes, we needed to work through and get change in terms to get them bumped back in closing. But it was a mutual agreement. It was not because of the shutdown. Because, I mean, you figure courthouses shut down. We couldn't have in-person closings. I've had more parking lot closings this year than I ever want to have in my lifetime.
Right.
I mean, I'm a hugger. You can't shake hands. You can't give your clients a hug. It's kind of like the virtual fist pumps.
It is honestly the weirdest thing in the world. Like, I feel like I've been doing most of my meetings through Zoom. But there are times where I'm out and I've like gone to some shoots and stuff. And I mean, wearing the mask during shoots is insane because I wear glasses and I'm like fogging up and stuff. Yeah. So that like kind of stinks. But it's the strangest thing to say hello and goodbye to somebody and not shake their hand or, like you said, like give them a hug or something like that. It is the strangest thing. I feel like I'm doing it all wrong.
Yeah. And then this was the best. And then you have your like, okay, you're released to sell, but these are the protocol. And of course, we all follow it. We want everyone to stay safe. The last thing we would ever, even now, want anyone is to get sick because maybe you're sick and don't know it. But I felt like I was in like this whole like spacesuit. We had to have masks on and then we had to have our gloves on and then everybody had to have booties and it was only one person allowed in the home at a time. Like it was the whole thing. So the first showing here, I show up with all this stuff on and we're just kind of laughing. But hey, here's the deal. We have to work through it. We have to persevere. And, you know, we definitely, all the realtors have. I think everyone's did a great job. So, yeah.
It's like a scene out of E.T.
Yeah. And then, so the market opened and we're good. Everyone's good.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like since then, even still, there's like regulations and stuff. I mean, like, what kind of things have you guys had to adapt? I mean, like, as far as your normal procedure, like, have you guys had to adapt much, like, even now?
Gosh, it seems to be almost the new norm. So I have to reflect back on what it was like before. This is actually good to kind of maybe bring in like the listing because I really think so much changed for realtors as far as how, at least it changed for me. Like what's important for marketing a listing when someone can't go see a home, how do you buy it? And I actually sold 3 houses this year one was from Brian Uran. Like it was literally, we did a walkthrough, like a video walkthrough because he wasn't able to get here. Yeah. Because of COVID. So I went in and videotaped the whole house and we did a live video for making the purchase. And I've had several clients do that, but it really had me restructure the marketing and what we do for listings to make sure that the public can get the best site of these houses virtually and through the internet. Yeah.
And I think that's like the coolest thing. I mean, like when you're looking for somebody that you want to work with or somebody that, you're going to buy a house from, like that's a humongous step in your life. So when you're working with somebody like that, you want somebody like yourself that's going to go in there and do these things. You're going to adapt to the situations that you have to do to make your clients happy. And that's amazing. That you're like, you're going into a house, you're doing a live, showing of this house over, via Zoom or whatever.
Yeah. And then on the listings, I mean, I'll touch on this a little bit because this is really what I love. Like my passion is going into a home. I had 2 listing appointments yesterday, but this is my passion. I love going into a house that either needs restaged or decluttered, or like I said before, tied in my knowledge with the construction, like, hey guys, like we really probably should change the hardware on the cabinet. Something as simple as $100 change that I can show you where to get it cheap on Amazon to change out your kitchen cabinet hardware from brass to aged bronze or brushed nickel. Like I go through them with that. So like, I love going in and basically we go through, we kind of get an idea on pricing of the house. I show them right on the spot what we're going to price it at based upon comps in the computer we'll go over. And then if they're going to hire me, we go through and we do a whole declutter list. We do staging, any repairs that are going to be made. And when all the stars align and they have that part done, which could be a day for some, could be 2 weeks for some. And then I actually bring in professional real estate photographer who does amazing work. And then we always get a drone picture taken of them. And that's not even good enough there. Once you get those photos back, I really think I do a great job, and my clients agree, hopefully, of making sure, like Ryan Holmes taught me, like everything has a unique selling proposition. Like if you're on 5 acres, why would you list the home and then 3 bedrooms for the next 3 pictures? Because Jordan, don't you agree? You form an opinion of a house after 3.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right. So we focus on the unique selling propositions of the home, and then from there flow into the rest of the pictures. And then if needed, we can add Matterports, which are virtual walkthrough that became popular during COVID. We can do video. I worked with a pretty amazing client this year that taught me a lot about Google keywords and descriptions, like how you write it, like first floor master suite, open floor plan. And I try to make sure I really capture all that in the marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all interesting stuff. And I mean, like, I think it's really unique that, you came from a marketing background. So you're this adaptation that everyone has to do, like the keywords and the video and the photos and, really breaking down like what is in a good title, what's going to be an attention grabbing title, or description. Like it's very important. And it's cool that you have that background. Most people are just starting to learn all of this because they have to. And, it's pretty wild, but, as far as photos go of listings and things, the first house I ever bought was, and I think I told you this story when we were looking at this house, the house on the outside, wasn't like very appealing. It had these like awnings that like kind of like engulfed the entire, porch. And, that in the backyard, I think were the only photos that you could see. And I was like, man, I don't even want to look at this house. This is garbage. I don't want to look at it. We ended up working with a gentleman. I forget his name, but he took us into the house and he was like, I swear you're going to like the inside. So we went in and I was like, oh my God, the inside's great. And I was like, why don't you put pictures of the inside up here? Like, because if I had it my way, I would be sitting in the car right now. Like I didn't even want to go in and see it. And we ended up buying that house because it was awesome. But like just the marketing and things like that you're doing, like those types of things are super important to visual people like myself.
I mean, like with what you do, Jordan, as well, like all these videos and everything that your company's based on, like this is not the time you go in and take pictures with your cell phone anymore.
Right.
Don't take a picture of the bathroom and there's a picture of you taking the picture.
Yeah.
They're not buying. I always tell my clients, listen, guys, they're not buying your pets. They're not buying your cars. Get them out of the driveway. They're not buying your clutter. Unless you want to sell them your contents, you can move it to the garage, but we're not selling that. We got to show them the home and let's get those countertops cleaned.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have some people that take it to the extreme and I come back in and I'm like, oh, can we add a couple pieces to that? You took everything down.
Right.
I had, I sold he's retired now. It was the principal in Norwin, and I sold their existing home. And I can remember he's a real jokester, but I can remember walking back into their home for the final time. And he said, you don't have one more Denise list for me, do you? I was like, well, if you want one, I can give you one more, but no, I think we're good.
Oh, good.
We sold the house in like a week.
That's amazing. Yeah. In the beginning of my business, I was doing a lot of real estate photography, and it was just something that like you really, because I was like passionate about that one particular time that I was just like, man, these pictures have to be awesome, because if, me, in quotes, is sitting out in the car and saying like, I don't even want to go look at this house. Like I want the person I'm working for to be able to get rid of that listing like ASAP. So like I go in and I try and find like, those specific angles and things like that, or what really is like the cool part of the kitchen or something like that. And, it's just really important to like really just kind of give those details, to these people and sell it to them basically before they even take a tour. I mean, you got to sell it visually.
Yep. 3 clicks. I always say it's the 3 clicks. Yeah. You're going to get through 3 clicks of a picture and you've made an opinion of the home, whether you like it, don't like it, and what you think of it.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, like you very, very much seem to, you love what you do. And, you have this down to a science. I mean, like it really is just, you think about, and from working with you, I can say that, you think about the client needs, the most, and you're very knowledgeable on all of the questions and anything that we ever had. So it's very comforting, to know that, you're available.
That makes me feel good, Jordan. I actually, I guess kind of on the personal side, we talked a lot about the business here, but like on a personal side, like if I can reflect on a few things, like I try to preach to my kids, to my nephews, like everything. Like I've lived by a quote. I love quotes. And I talked to you a little bit about this before we got started, but my favorite one is, when you truly do what you love, you will never work another day in your life.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm up at 5:30 every morning. I'm at my desk by 6:00 in the morning. It's not work. It's fun.
Yeah.
For some people, it might be work, but to me, it's fun. Going on these listing appointments is fun. And, the personal connection that I've made through this, like I literally have my best friends today. Most of them I've met through real estate. They started as my client and truly just ended as a best friend.
Yeah. It's awesome. I mean, like, that's how I feel like every day. I told you, like, right before the podcast, like there's some days that I feel guilty because like I actually feel like I don't have a job. Like I do what I do and people send me money for it. And it's just like, it's the most amazing thing in the world to realize that, like, these things that like I dreamt about years and years and years ago before I started my business, like are here. Like that's what we're doing. And it's just so amazing. Like that's something that I think all kids definitely should hear. Like that's a great quote, because whatever it is that they like to do, I mean, they really just have to get after it. And that's the most important thing.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. My 9-year-old turns that back on me because he's witty and didn't tell me. Then great, Mom, then you can leave me alone. I can be a professional video game player because I'm playing video games right now.
Yeah.
So, it can backfire to a 9-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
So,
it's wild. I mean, it's just, during these times, it's weird. I know, like the kids, we've tried to kind of let them do a little bit more in the ways of video games and things, since the sports kind of got cut out, and
right.
It just so we kick them out of the house and make them go outside and down to the park and stuff. But they are doing different things, and it's kind of cool for me too, because like they're using technology now. It's not just playing video games, they're streaming video games, and they're making videos about it, and they're making podcasts and with their friends and things like that over.
And they have a really good role model for that,
right? Yeah. it's really cool. Last night we were sitting there talking. I was talking with the older one, Chio, about he wanted to do a podcast with his friends, and he was like, but I don't know, because we can't get together. And I was like, well, there's this really cool app. It's called Anchor, and you can do it all through your phones, and you don't have to be in the same area. And he's like, oh, no way. So like we came home from from my new office last night, and we were like getting them all set up on that. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, they have to do something. Like I'm a hockey mom too. My 12-year-old, competitive hockey. So it's been,
dude, you're a saint. Any hockey mom is a saint.
I think all my hockey moms would agree with that.
No kidding. Oh my God. So yeah, I'm another client of mine, and she's a good friend of mine, Megan Keys. She works at Adelphi, and her son is also into hockey and stuff. And man, just the like schedule things she tells me, like, oh yeah, Caleb had practice from like 8:00 at night until like 11 at night, and then like got up and went to school the next day. And I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. You guys are nuts, man. Very dedicated.
Yeah. And I will tell you, that kind of leads me into like my team a little bit. Like we've talked a lot about me, but like I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for my team. And that number one person on my team is my mom.
Yeah.
So that's the coolest thing. And I think so many people, like I've had closings where they've worked with my mom through the process, and like, mind you, she's going to be 70 soon, and she's amazing. Does not quit working. Like she loves it. But they're like, where's your mom? We want your mom at the closing. But yeah, so if I go back a little bit, I tell all my clients, I had one on my hip, a baby, of course, one on my leg, a phone in my hand, and trying to lock myself in a room to try to take a real estate call. And I just broke down and started crying again. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I need help. And my mom was going to go work somewhere because she needed money, just because of health insurance wise. And I'm like, Mom, come work for me. And long story short, we got her through the real estate exam. In her early 60s, she became a licensed realtor. And she's truly, I may be the face and everyone knows me, but she is that rock behind the scenes that literally has everything ready for me. Like when I need to walk out the door, it's on my desk. When, say, someone needs to show a house that I can't jump and go do it, she goes and does it. Her and I are literally later today, we do it about 2 or 3 times a year. We pack up. We either rent a hotel room or we go to my cabin in Deep Creek, and we just work from sun up to sundown and getting all of our plans in place and catching up on stuff for business.
That's so amazing. That's awesome.
So it actually, I told her, you were supposed to make me less busy, and she made me more busy because you guys get birthday cards and get these cute mailers, etc. She's always like, sis, we're sending these. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And we've gotten the happy birthday cards and the calendars. Yes. And it's nice to get that stuff because that's exactly what you said before. Like you're not only like having like a professional client and like seller relationship. It really is like, I mean, we think of you as a friend. I mean, like, and you were friends with Jess, like she bought her first house from you, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and this is a thing, like if say we ever buy another house or something like that, obviously we're coming straight to you. I mean, those are the relationships that we built and stuff. So it's very awesome.
I think the last time I calculated, I didn't look at last year, but over 90% of all my business is repeats or referrals. Like I don't pay a lot of, I hardly spend anything on cold marketing just because I like my past friends and clients. I really do. It's fun I did my first one. Tyler Hoffman's his name. And it was actually one of my nephew's friends. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm into like I remember these kids as babies. I'm like, am I that old already? Like, what's going on here? Like, so it's so cool to be able to sell, like they sold their parents' houses and now I'm moving into like the, early 20-year-olds that are professionals now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But then I also have one other agent as well. She just came on last year. Her name's Jenny York, and she's helping on the backside to process contracts. And she worked 30 years and still does for an attorney. So she's phenomenal with paperwork, and she's also going to be a buyer's agent with me. Very
awesome. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's what I mean. Like you have everything figured out, and like
I don't want to go everything, Jordan. That might be a little credit.
I mean, as far as like, client needs and things to make things like, quick and easy and all of that stuff. I mean, it's so great to work with somebody that knows what they're doing because I mean, like right now, would you say that, if people are on the fence about like, either buying or selling, like now is pretty much the time to go for it. Would you say?
Absolutely. 100% from both sides of the spectrum. From the buying side, when are you ever going to get a chance again to purchase a home between 2.5% and 3%, not even 3% right now.
Yeah.
% interest rates. The purchasing power that you have by doing that, you may be able to afford a home you'll never be able to afford again. Mm-hmm. On the flip side, on the listing side, if you're even considering a move, let me come talk to you and just show you where the price points have went to. So that you can capitalize on getting the most out of your home, or maybe the same amount you would have gotten, but you don't have to do certain repairs because buyers are willing to overlook those items. Like maybe your kitchen's a little dated or your bath's a little dated. That may be able to be overlooked because of the supply and demand.
Right. And that's the important thing. I mean, like you might, kind of keep things to yourself and look around the internet and get on Zillow and all that stuff and think that you can do this all yourself. But when you really have somebody that is professional and knows exactly what they're talking about and can explain the questions that you have or anything like that, it's so much better. It's like you have to lean, and I say this on this podcast almost every episode, you have to lean on people's expertise. That is the most important thing that you can do for your community, that to support your community and, the people that live in it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Jordan. And it reflects back to the COVID when I told you we didn't miss one closing. Mm-hmm. I work with two separate attorneys. I work with Warden Christner and Elsie Lampel. I work pretty much with, Carolyn Slumack for the lending, and just literally making sure that those local people, they're committed to me, which makes them committed to my clients. And, every one of my contracts, every day I do, the first thing I pull up is my contract pile. What do we need to accomplish? So I tell everyone, yeah, you can find your own home on Zillow. You might be able to list your home to sell it to somebody, but more deals fall apart from contract to closing than people realize, because there's so many other pieces to the puzzle that you have to work through to actually make it to that closing table to get those keys.
Yeah.
Or to get that paycheck, not the paycheck, but the commission check.
Right. Absolutely. So where can people find you if they are interested in selling or buying?
Well, you obviously always can reach me on my cell phone. Even though I have a team, I really stress that you still get me. I'm still the face. I'm not a team that's making my team do all the work and you don't get me. So I would prefer everyone to reach out to me directly. You can either my cell phone, which is 412-310-6864. Email me, Denise Ardisson at Gmail. And I would love if anyone listening to this would go on to my business Facebook and like my business page. I share all my new listings there and some tips. It's Denise Ardisson Team. So facebook.com, Denise Ardisson Team. And then, of course, website. But I kind of don't focus a whole lot on that. I probably need your help on that moving forward, Jordan. We can talk to you about that.
Yeah, no worries there. I'll definitely put all these links down in the description of the show. You guys know where to find those. But it's very important. I can't stress enough how relaxed the process is, because as a younger guy who, was kind of nervous about buying a house, it was one of the smoothest things that had ever happened. So, and we have you to thank for that.
Oh, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I tell everyone, this is going to be fun. If we're not having fun, we're not doing something right. Will we hit bumps in the road? Absolutely. But we'll work through it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to the kids, the homeschooling, the team, the whole 9 yards.
Oh, yeah. It's not homeschooling today. I got them all locked out of my office and said, don't come in the home office.
We got something going down. Yeah. All right.
But thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate being able to be on your podcast and sharing with more people in the 724 in the Westmoreland County. And hopefully I can meet some more people this year because of this.
Absolutely. All right. Stick around real quick. All right. There goes Denise. If you're looking to sell your house or buy a house anytime soon, you should definitely reach out to Denise. She really makes everything flow so smoothly, and it's not intimidating at all. It's not scary. It's just, it's a really easy process because she makes it that way. She's a professional. Definitely check her out at all of the links below in the show description. You can follow her on Facebook and go check out her website. If you have any questions for her whatsoever, please reach out. She's very knowledgeable and can answer any question that you have. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys are off to an amazing start in 2021. And I'll see you next week for a new episode. See ya.